Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Planning and Zoning Commission. This January 3rd, 2017. We have 6 of the 7 commissioners in attendance. We're missing Commissioner Judy Hansen this evening. We're grateful that you've come out on this snowy day to participate in the public process and hope you have safe travels. By way of business, the 5th item on our agenda this evening, Jordan Landing Dental, that was continued from November 1st, has been postponed again at the request of the applicant. So if you are here to speak in a public hearing on that item, we won't be having the public hearing this evening. It'll be re-agendized at a date that is uncertain at this point in time. Great, and our first item of business is the oath of office for new and reappointed commissioners. So a warm welcome to Commissioners Luthi, Hatch, and acknowledge Commissioner Green being reappointed. So if you would like to step down for the oath of office. And please feel free to step forward if you want a picture closer than the 4th row. Okay. Great, thank you. Again, a warm welcome, Commissioners Luthi, Hatch, and welcome back, Commissioner Green. Second item of business this evening, election of chair and vice chair for 2017. So first we'll take care of chair. So I'll open the conversation to nominations for chair for 2017. Commissioner Sikoski.
Thank you. I would like to nominate David Pack as the chairperson for 2017. Second.
We have a nomination from Commissioner Sikoski, seconded by Commissioner Quinney, and thank you. I will accept that nomination. Any other nominations for the chair?
I move for acclamation, since there's no other vote.
Great. Then all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 6-0. Thank you for your trust. I appreciate that greatly.
Is there a second on that one? There was.
Commissioner Quinney. And we'll open the conversation for nominations for vice chair 2017. Commissioner Quinney.
Thank you. I would like to nominate Commissioner Sikoski as our vice chair for the year.
I'll second that nomination.
Thank you. I accept the nomination.
Great. Any other nominations for vice chair?
Quiet punch today.
Seeing none, we'll close and vote. All in favor of Commissioner Sikoski serving as Vice Chair of Planning Commission for calendar year 2017, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item of business, appointment of 2 commissioners to the Design Review Committee for calendar year 2017. In the pre-meeting, it was mentioned that Commissioners Quinney and Hatch would like to serve. Are there any other thoughts or comments regarding the appointment? Commissioner Green.
I move that we appoint Commissioner Quinney and Commissioner Hatch to the Design Review Committee for
Second.
2017.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Green, a second by Commissioner Sikoski. Any discussion to that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Wonderful, thank you. Last business item this evening, approval of minutes from our prior meeting of December 20th, 2016. Commissioner Sikoski.
Move to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second? Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Sikoski, a second by Commissioner Green. Any discussion to that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 6-0. Commissioner Green.
I move that we postpone the public hearing and any decision on the Jordan Landing Dental to a date to be determined.
Second.
A motion on public hearing item number 5 on our agenda by Commissioner Green, second by Commissioner Quinney. Any discussion to that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Lots of moving, lots of motions. And it's only 6:10.
6:08.
6:08, thank you. Moving right along. Item number 6 on the agenda, the cottages at Applecross, 2735 West, 7800 South, preliminary subdivision plat and preliminary development plan. Hamlet Development, Michael Brodsky is the applicant. Is the applicant present this evening? Welcome.
Nice.
We didn't know if you were
Nice
delivering
timing.
pizza or what was going on, so thank you. Welcome. Your perfect timing.
Thank you. Nice to be here. I have a little presentation package. I just gave Larry a copy of it. Can I distribute it to you? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we are. Larry, do you want to present? Do you customarily present before me? Oh, thank you. All right. We are asking the Planning Commission, I beg your pardon, my name is Michael Brodsky with both Hamlet Homes and Hamlet Development. We are asking the Planning Commission for preliminary approval for the cottages at Applecross. This is a 38-lot subdivision. It's located at 2700 south, approximately 3100. Pardon? Thank you. Approximately 3100 west. We have received a rezone on this. When we received the rezone, we had presented this to the Planning Commission, and the Council, of course, approved the rezone as well. The community, the package you have in front of you shows first the preliminary subdivision plan, and then the landscape plan. If I might talk about the landscape plan for a few minutes. What we have designed here includes fully landscaping both the front and rear of each home site. We have clustered the driveways together so that we create a much larger green space on the street. We have a nice diversity of homes that I'm going to show you in just a minute. The community has 3 separate open space parcels, one on each end and one in the center. The park on the west side of the property contains a tot lot, little playground. The park on the other side of the property contains park benches, dog disposal station. The property is enclosed by a masonry 6-foot wall, as it is adjacent to the commercial space along 7800 South and the shopping center. And you'll excuse me, sometimes I get northeast and west a little confused. But there's a shopping center on the one side, and that is also enclosed with a 6-foot high masonry wall. On the canal side of the property, we've enclosed the canal with a 6-foot high vinyl fence. The property line adjacent to the single-family residential community, we are not proposing fencing. That a good part of that property is an existing open space and park. What we have done, though, is that our sidewalk, we have tied lead walks into their park area so that they might have an access through our neighborhood out to 7800 South. In our early meeting with the neighbors, they expressed concerns about being able to safely walk to school. I haven't concluded an arrangement with them whereby we are offering to build a sidewalk through their parks to meet our sidewalk, and I am more than happy to accommodate them by doing that if they so desire. If you'll turn to the next page here. First house that I'm showing you, Biscotti, has 3 different elevations for this house. If you go to the next slide. We'll stay with that for a moment. As we had this approved, your architectural committee approved our architecture last week, and a comment was made that they appreciated the garage door designs and suspected that was an upgrade. It's not. We have come to learn that the garage door is such a prominent feature in these neighborhoods that we started to really embellish them and pay a lot of attention to the design of the doors. Go to the next slide, please. This is the 3rd elevation for the Scotty. If you go to the next slide. The house, by the way, the Scotty, the last one you just saw, is approximately 3,200 square feet, and that includes approximately 900 square feet in the basement. This house, the Cameron, is a Rambler. It's 2 bedrooms on the main living level, and then we also finished the entire lower level. If you go to the next slide, that's the floor plan. And so there's almost 3,100, just under 3,200 square feet of living space in this house. If you go to the next, this is a new design that we actually started working on for a community we're building in Sugar House, and we thought that it would be very appropriate here. One of the unique features about this house is that it's designed to sit on a corner lot and also an interior lot. You'll notice that the front door is angled, and so if you turn to the next slide, you'll see that on the corner lot, we have a sidewalk reaching out to the corner of it, and it provides a very, very interesting, if you go back, please. Yes. It provides a very interesting streetscape. So it looks, you've got a side entry garage or a front entry garage, depending on how it lays out on the street. This is a big house. It's almost, well, it's just over 4,000 square feet, including a full basement. If you go to the floor plan, it's 2 slides behind. Yeah. So with this, excuse me, we have well, it's not shown here, we have an option for a finished lower level, but with the square footage of almost 3,000 square feet on the first and second floor, we feel like the lower level is an option for those that would like to have the additional space. Go to the next slide. And this is the last one. The Elliott is also a two-story. It's the smallest of the homes that we're offering here. And it too, while it has finished, of course, the first and second floor are finished, and contains about 2,300 square feet of habitable space. The lower level is an optional finished space as well. That concludes my presentation. I'm open for any questions you might have.
Great, thank you, Mr. Brodsky. Questions from the applicant, Commissioner Sikoski?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to say again, thank you for your interest in building West Jordan. And the product looks really nice. I like the doorknob, especially with the way it puts eyes on the street. I think that's a good design for the community. One thing that I have concern with is the vinyl fence that borders the canal area. It's just been our experience that children and teens will walk along those areas and they like to throw stones. Those vinyl fences, when they get cold, tend to just kind of shatter along that side. And where that is set back, I'm wondering what your feeling is on changing that vinyl fence to be another masonry wall. Candidly,
If this is a negotiation, if everything else is equal and there are no other suggestions that I need to change, if that's the only request that the Planning Commission has of me, I'll be more than happy to do that.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Great, thank you. We'll reserve some time for you after the public hearing if there's anything you'd like to readdress.
Thank you very much.
Great. And Mr. Gardner, you have this item?
Yes, I'll go through some of the slides. I realize most of the Planning Commission is familiar with this, but we have two new members that are not, because this rezone was prior to them coming on to the Planning Commission. It was a rezone. This whole area between 32 and 2700 West was SC2 until about last December when the City Council chose to change the zoning to PRDM. And this will be a residential infill project between commercial now, and it abuts the commercial project of Woods Cove. Woods Cove has been there probably 30, 35 years. To the east is Cow Ranch, and to the north of this project is a daycare and Arby's at this location. Across the canal, the west is another commercial property. However, it's pretty well buffered with the canal and the canal road, and so it's a good buffer for residential. Down here is West Jordan High School, and so this connectivity between 7800 South and Woods Cove will be a really nice feature for the people of Woods Cove. Now here are the respective densities around. They're a little lower to the north and then much higher to the west and about the same to the south. So the project's really in the medium density range that exists in the area. Mr. Brodsky already talked about these other plans, so I won't belabor it. Other than the amenities that they have provided meet the intent of the PRD ordinance. And the plan does meet the intent of the PRD ordinance, and staff recommends approval of both the development plan and the preliminary subdivision plat. Do you have any questions for me?
Great, thank you, Mr. Gardner. Commissioner Queen. Or is that, sorry, we're one over. Commissioner Green.
That's me. I know we're only dealing with the preliminary plan and the subdivision, but the design of the homes, and I'm not discounting the quality of the homes. And in fact, I want to move into the one on the corner, the corner house. I like that one. The doorknob, I like that one. Do these homes meet the requirements for the PRD?
Yes.
Because I thought the PRD had something about garages and porches.
Garages in a PRD, houses that face the street need to be flush with the home or have the porch before the garage. And so I reviewed all these and they all meet. I think the PC says that the garages have to be 6 feet in back of the front living area, but the PRD just says they have to be flush with or even with.
Okay, I couldn't remember which one, that's why I was asking is.
Yeah, either could I until
Okay.
last, because why the two are different, I don't know, but they are. But all these homes meet, and actually I gave the ordinance to Mr. Brodsky, a month or so ago, and all of these homes have been redesigned based on that ordinance. Yeah.
Thank you. Commissioner Hatch.
My question is, what is the access between the communities, the existing community and the new community? So people that are living on the south, I guess that's the south side,
Yes.
here, is there any access between communities?
Just pedestrian.
Just pedestrian?
So there'll just be pedestrian between basically these cul-de-sac areas. All the people at Woods Cove, their access is up 2700 West. And all of the traffic access for Applecross will be off 7800 South. This access point right here is for emergency purposes only. We'll
Okay.
either have gates or bollards, but it's not a full access. It's just for emergency purposes.
And it's not a gated community?
No,
Okay.
And there is two commercial pads with this subdivision out along 7800 South, keeping with the wish of the general plan that we keep some commercial presence along 7800
So
South.
residents leaving the community have that one exit and entrance
Yes.
point? That's it? Okay.
Commissioner Green.
You know, I'm gonna ask one more question. The exit to the east that's gonna be blocked off, I'm assuming that's for vehicles, but people still be able to walk
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, well, it depends. I think the preference of the fire department is for bollards. I can't speak for them. They don't necessarily like gates, and I would prefer to see bollards too, because then if snow happens to get pushed there, it will go through the bollards rather than becoming this huge pile, and so.
Can we make that a condition of approval?
Sure.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting and open it up to public comment. This was agendized as a public meeting. Anyone who would like to speak, you're welcome to take up to 3 minutes. We have a timer over here. Please state your name for the public record. That way city staff can follow up with you if you have any questions. And we really, oh yes, thank you, Commissioner Quinney, and your address, so your name and your address. And we highly value your comments. We never make any decisions prior to hearing what the public has to say. So with that in mind, we'll open the public comment forum. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment section and bring it back to discussion among the Planning Commission. Commissioner Sikoski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Because Mr. Brodsky is amenable to that wall, I would suggest that we make that part of the condition of the motion. And then for the bollards that would go in on that east entrance, or rather east emergency access, would it be the type of bollards that could be pulled out and moved? Is that?
Yes, they'll have to be removable.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Great, and I too shared that same concern. I live on the border of a park and the border is a vinyl fence, and with high schoolers and junior high students walking up and down, throwing rocks, it really does look like a war zone. And so I would definitely be in favor of that idea that you mentioned, Commissioner Sikoski, and grateful Mr. Brodsky is amenable to that solution. Commissioner Sikoski.
Okay, well, because we're all so quiet, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion. Based on the findings and evidence in the staff report, and upon evidence and explanations received today, I move that the Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the City Council for the cottages at Applecross Preliminary Development Plan generally located at approximately 2735 west, 7800 south, establishing a residential density of 4.7 units per acre for a total of 38 single-family residential lots, subject to the conditions set forth in the staff report, along with a third condition, that the fence between the property and the canal be changed to masonry to match the rest of the masonry product. And a fourth condition, that the blockage for the emergency access be ballards, and that they be removable ballards for the emergency access.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Sikoski and a second by Commissioner Green. Any discussion of that motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Brodsky.
I'll go ahead with the second. They're based on findings set forth in the staff report on evidence and explanations received today. I move that the Planning Commission approve the preliminary subdivision plat for the cottages at Applecross, located approximately 2735 west, 7800 south, subject to the conditions set forth in the staff report and the same conditions that I mentioned previously.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Sikoski, second by Commissioner Green. Any discussion of that motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Which brings us to our last agenda item this evening. Jensen Development, 6150 West and 7800 South. Future land use plan amendment for 205.3 acres from community commercial, parks, and open lands, future park, high-density residential, medium-density residential, and low-density residential. I said that in one breath. 2, very high-density residential, medium-density residential, and community commercial, and rezone from A20 zone to PC zone with the conceptual development plan concurrently. JF Land Company, Colin Wright, is the applicant. Is the applicant present this evening? Please come forward, state your name, and, well, we already know your name, I just said it.
No, that's actually the principal owner. So my name is Brian Bayless. It's nice to meet all of you. And welcome to the new Planning Commission members. That's exciting. I wanted to kind of focus my remarks. It's 205 acres, so it's a big project. We're really excited about it. There are lots of elements to it. I know I'm going to try to be respectful of your time, and so I hope you'll forgive me. I've written down all my remarks, and I'm just going to read them. So it's super boring. Hopefully I can add a little intonation to my voice, and you guys will be able to... No, it is.
We need pictures and slides.
So we've got that covered at least. Okay, so let's jump, and I'm going to have to skip slide or next slide every time as well. Oh, sweet, you've got one of these. Okay, we're in business. All right, and you've got a laser pointer, I'm guessing. Perfect, okay. Hopefully, there's been a kind of a pretty big amount of information that's been prepared. Staff has done a great job of preparing some of that. We've done hopefully a decent job of preparing our items. Hopefully what I'm going to say today is maybe a little bit different than some of the information that you've received, and will provide some context and background to what we're doing and why. So I've chosen to spend a few minutes on who we are as a development group, some of the market opportunities, and our approach to community building. Hopefully we'll have some time for some of your questions at the end. So first of all, who are we? JF Capital and CW Landco are jointly developing this community. Both are professional real estate development firms and have developed and acquired hundreds of acres of real estate since their existence in 2007. The principals of these two companies, am I speaking too loudly? Are you guys?
No, we're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. The principal of these two companies own Henry Walker Homes and Jack Fisher Homes, and at one time grew Henry Walker to a top 5 builder in Utah. Colin Wright, the owner of CW Landco, has been close friends with the Jensen family for the past 15 years. And we have a few members of the Jensen family here. And we'll talk about their property and their involvement with the project here in a little bit more here in a few slides. Our communities speak for themselves. One example that you may have heard of, if you've been down to St. George at all, is Brio. This is Southern Utah's premier active adult community. The upscale master plan community is situated on 193 acres, so very closely in size to this one, and is highly amenitized, offers unparalleled views of Pine Valley Mountains and the area's famous red rock vistas. And I'll point out on the map, right in the heart is the highly amenitized community, and so I'll walk through those quickly as kind of maybe a comparable for what we're planning to do here in West Jordan. And I guess I should ask, do you guys know where this property is? Okay, so you're all familiar with the location on 78 South and the West Davis, or the Mount View corridor.
Yeah.
So it's a 14,500 square foot community center with several multi-purpose activity rooms, fitness center, and indoor pool. Outdoors, Brio has a large collection of recreational facilities, including an outdoor pool, 8 pickleball courts, 2 tennis courts, walking trails, playground area, dog park, as well as 20 acres of land preserved for the native open space. And I also wanted to take just a moment to introduce our design team. There's no way we could have done this on our own. A project of this scale and magnitude requires a lot of expertise and understanding. So our design firm has been Urban Design Associates, or UDA, and Horrocks Engineers. They've been involved in this property from the initial charrette over a year and a half ago and are intimately familiar with the project. UDA is an out-of-state architecture and design firm that has been in business since 1964 and has participated in many projects here in Utah, and most notably in Daybreak. They played a significant role in the design there in Daybreak. Horrocks Engineers, Dave Peterson, who's been intimately involved with this project, has been very important and really understands a lot of the utility solutions that we had to work through. And finally, Somas is principally an engineer firm out of California, but they have a local group here that does a lot of planning and design work, and they're a great firm. So we brought them on just recently to help us prepare these applications. So that's who we are. Quickly, I'm going to run through this slide. Maybe not typical for a presentation of this type, but I thought it was kind of helpful in setting some of the background and context for the way that we look at development. The Utah market, as I'm speaking to the choir here, is incredibly strong. You might see this initially as a slide that doesn't belong, but as you all know, households follow job creation. And so this slide kind of focuses on a lot of the accolades that Utah has been privileged to earn the last few years. And just running through them quickly, so best state for business and careers, ranked third by Forbes. State job growth, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is first. Salt Lake City is ranked fifth in America's 20 fastest growing cities. Anyway, you can kind of see 100 best places to live, population growth rate, top states for business. It's pretty impressive. And I don't know that it's really apparent unless you leave Utah and you kind of look back at Utah. It's pretty remarkable what's happening here. And I think we kind of take it for granted, the growth that occurs and the appreciation and all those things that happen. But it's pretty remarkable. West Jordan, in and of itself is very impressive, ranked fourth as the largest city in Utah, the fourth largest city in Utah, and second in median housing pricing increases as of 2016. And that's based on probably MLS data that the Tribune polls, they kind of put a survey together every year. And then fourth, it's the fourth fastest growing city in Utah based on labor statistics from, I'm guessing, the census. There's a few articles to note, but the reason why I wanted to bring this up is for a few reasons. First, it highlights West Jordan's grown and will continue to grow in the foreseeable future. Second, as job growth continues, people are being drawn to Utah and property is being developed at increasingly faster rates. Third, lot sizes are consistently shrinking across the United States, with Utah being no exception. No doubt there are many reasons for this, and one of which is based on pricing. So as salaries are struggling to keep up with the escalating home prices, the home buyer is forced to live further and further from employment centers. You've probably seen some of these forces, right? Or choose less expensive housing options. One of the raw materials needed for housing is land, and that's our job to provide that land as development occurs. But the buyer is typically willing to sacrifice maybe some of the land associated with the development for a lot of reasons, right? I'm sure you guys all have your conjectures as to why that is. Maybe millennials don't like yard work. I mean, who knows? You've heard lots of things, right? But ultimately, I think a lot of homebuyers feel like sacrificing land as opposed to sacrificing some of the elements of a great home and the living space is worth it to them. So they kind of sacrifice, buy a smaller lot. And places like Daybreak have proven that there's clearly a market for this with small lots, good architecture, and highly amenitized. People are willing to pay for it if it's done right. And so that's our objective. So the next slide here. This is a map. As you guys all kind of mentioned, you know where the property is located. so a map of where it's at. The two items that we weighed heavily in creating thoughtful and functional communities are surrounding area and existing site conditions. So I just quickly wanted to point out, I know you guys understand all of this stuff, but as you look at this map, there's a lot happening, and West Jordan has done a lot to invest in the future. As you look at the Civic Center, you've got just a ton of stuff that's happening just right behind this building. With City Hall, County Library Headquarters, State District Courthouse, Veterans Memorial Park and Arena, the Rec Center, and soon-to-be-complete County Health Clinic. Future mixed use, as well as the future mixed use center redevelopment along the transit line, and the transit line is highlighted right there in orange. You've got Jordan Landing, which provides a great economic engine for the city, Salt Lake Community College, Jordan Valley Medical Center, South Valley Regional Airport. You've got the youth sports complex as well as 50 parks. I was surprised to see 50 parks and 30 sports fields. Major industrial users, light rail access. I mean, it's an impressive city. You guys all know this. But I wanted to put it in context of what is happening in the surrounding community and that this property has much to benefit from and add to West Jordan. The Jensen property is 204 acres located in the northwest region of West Jordan, highlighted in green on the map. That's kind of a highlight identifying there. You can see the Mountain View corridor as well as the 205 acres. The property was owned and farmed by the Jensen family for 5 generations, who Craig and his family are here tonight. Our goal for the design of the community was to create a new neighborhood that incorporates the agricultural heritage and natural beauty of the site with high-quality development. The parcel is characterized by rolling bluffs, panoramic mountain views, and a scenic ravine in the southwest portion of the site that kind of intersects the site kind of right through there. The ravine was the original location of the Jensen family homestead, and we'll talk about how we plan to incorporate each one of these different elements into the community. The site has excellent regional connectivity to bicycle and pedestrian trail systems, as you can see in the map. There's a lot of green on here, which is all very favorable for what we plan to accomplish with the trail along the Mount View corridor and a lot of connecting areas. Furthermore, you've got transportation opportunities galore. You've got 7,000 south and 7,800 south, and just east of the Mountain View corridor, which provides excellent automobile connectivity. Adjacent development includes multifamily development to the north. So right up here, this is out of West Jordan City, but there's existing multifamily development to the north. And then you've got the new Smiths, as you guys are all probably well aware, that's been built there. And a few, Ivory's doing a development over there, and a couple other developers are in on the eastern edge of the property. So as we consider the existing features of the site, we anticipated this location as one where residential intensity seemed to make sense for the following reasons. There's a few reasons why we kind of looked at this. The site is bordered with major transportation corridors on 3 sides. The New Smithson Elementary School is on the 4th side, and the close proximity to the Mountain View corridor improves access to employment centers, thus easing typical east-west traffic, which is a big deal here in West Jordan. Quickly, just a little bit of history on where we've come. Our group officially kicked this project off in August 2015, so it's been almost 18 months now. We organized a design workshop, or a charrette, as a week-long process that presented the facts as previously identified, that we've kind of walked through here today, as well as brought together the Jensen family, design consultants, builders, and developers. And over the course of the week, the team met with representatives from the City of West Jordan, including staff and elected officials, and input from these sessions was incorporated into the concept plan. Further, the city's general plan was consulted for guidance on the design elements and goals. And here's what we heard. So as we worked through the charrette and have continued to kind of open this dialogue up, this is what we've heard. We kind of categorized, if you can, all the comments that we received into 7 kind of main categories. So build on the general plan, build open spaces by phase, avoid cookie-cutter design and repetitive look, use slopes to create a sense of place, consider opportunity to connect to the Mountain View Corridor Trail, support the property's legacy, and support safe routes to school. So these were kind of the key things that we looked to incorporate into our kind of design elements as we move through. This is a really busy slide, so I'll apologize. I don't intend for you guys to look through it. But basically what we did is we tried to take the general plan and the elements of the general plan and say, which portions of these can be applied to our development, and how do we do that thoughtfully and skillfully? And so these, as we kind of looked through the different goals and policies that were established there, we took these and said these are the ones that we feel like make the most sense. So hopefully I'm kind of setting the stage for the fact that we've thought about this a lot and we want to do this right. As a result, the team proposed the following design principles based on the agreed upon project goals. So principle 1, connect to the environment, and we'll do that through a couple different ways: promote outdoor living, create safe routes to school, connect new trails to regional trails. Principle 2 is provide mobility choices, design safe, calm streets that serve bikes and pedestrians as well as they do the automobile. And then 3, provide a community for all generations, provide housing choices for people at various stages of life, and secondly, design a live, work, play environment. So that's kind of how we've incorporated a lot of these design principles. So the final result was, as you see it here on the screen, this was the concept master plan, which has remained largely the same today as a year and a half ago. This plan illustrates the principles developed through the planning process. The neighborhood includes a balance of redevelopment and open space, balance of development and open space. The centerpiece of the plan is a green spine that runs through the site. Along the spine, an existing ravine will be converted into a central park with native plants and grasses, anchored by an amenity center. Additional amenities will include 3 tot lots, community gardens, a clubhouse and pool, an amphitheater, over 35 acres of parks and open space, and miles of pedestrian and bike trails connecting the community and regional pedestrian corridors. To help paint the picture, I'm going to look through these because I'm already taking way more time than I should, but it's just an awesome community, and we're really excited to talk about it. We had the consultant identify 3 locations to kind of paint the picture of what this community will be. So we'll start with the one to the north, and then move to the one in the center, and then the one to the south. So this is kind of an artistic rendering of what that would look like as you look westward out over the project. This is intended to show a linear park with beautiful views of the mountains, and it illustrates the character of the preserved lot types, as well as, which we'll talk about here in a minute, as well as showing how this park responds to the natural topography of the site. There are some topography challenges that we think we can incorporate thoughtfully into the development. This one is kind of more centrally located in the community, looking southeast with the mountain views in the distance. It illustrates one of the 4 townhouse areas within the plan. These townhouses front a similar linear park that connects to the West Jordan Regional Trail System. And then finally, this third rendering illustrates improvements to the existing ravine and farmstead, highlighting the central park, including the pool and playground amenity, the community gardens, the amphitheater, as well as walking and biking trails throughout the community. So this is the history. I think that's important to kind of understand where we've come from, why we are where we are. So a year and a half ago, why the delay, right? Why is it taking this long to get where we're going? What have we done wrong, or what have we done right? There's 2 reasons for the delay. Number 1, we were asked by the city to delay our submittal. It's been a long time ago, while the city's cap and grade ordinance was revised to permit our community. So we went through the charrette process. We came up with what we felt like, and I think the city felt like was a great plan. And they kind of said, hey, we can't let you do this. That's a bit of a problem. So we need to go back and reconsider some of our cap and grade revisions. And so the city took a look at that, and as a result, the ordinance was changed shortly thereafter. So after a few weeks of delay there, the second and perhaps larger delay was as a result of the Mountain View corridor. So UDOT disputed the valuation of the property it took from the Jensen family, and as a result, for the corridor, and as a result, the Jensens asked us to pause the entitlement while that was being resolved, and that valuation was resolved this winter, and so we're clear to process these applications, and so here we are today. Now, just the final, down the last stretch here. You guys hang with me. So 3 lot types. We'll move through these really quickly. There are 3 kind of product types that we're anticipating in the community. The first of which is the single-family preserved lot, as we're calling it. These are the largest lot type at 70 feet wide, quarter-acre lots. This is the only residential option that has front-loaded garages, and we felt like that was a really important design element. The rest are all rear-loaded garages. These will comprise 34% of the single-family homes built in the community. The next residential option is single-family cottage lots, and these are, again, just kind of concepts of architecture that we plan to employ here in the development. And with the concept development plan here, where the stage where we're at, we'll be providing a lot more details as time goes by. But these are smaller detached homes with lots averaging 45 feet wide and are between a 1/10 to a 1/4 acre lot. These homes have garages that are alley loaded, and these lots will comprise 49% of single-family homes built in the community. Lastly, is the townhouse lots. These are attached homes with lots averaging 20 feet wide. These homes have garages, that are alley loaded, and these lots will comprise 17% of the single-family homes built in the community. There's a bit of commercial character, commercial area anticipated for the development. It's an 11-acre site, and some of the challenges that we've kind of faced with that site, I'll just run through them quickly. The visibility is great off the Mountain View corridor and off of 7800 West, 7800 South, excuse me. But the alignment of the Mountain View corridor prohibits access to and minimizes frontage along 78 South, limiting the attractiveness of the property to commercial users. And furthermore, the newly built Smith's Marketplace will fill the commercial demand in the area, and commercial uses are anticipated to desire locations closer to Smith's, at least initially. So it could be quite some time until the commercial development occurs on the site. The commercial character, as shown in these pictures, will contain small shops and will serve kind of more local needs. So lastly here, this is the community. So these are the different elements that we've kind of walked through. It's anticipated, and I think this is an important element because a lot of people kind of think that, hey, this is just going to happen overnight. It's not. This is like 800 homes, so it's going to take probably 8 years to ultimately develop out. We've kind of anticipated between 7 and 10 years. So we're seeking approval for 569 single-family detached homes, 116 attached townhomes, and 204 senior housing, 55-plus units. The community contains over 35 acres of open space and improved park space, as well as a 4-acre church site, which is located, if you guys can see that, we've reached out to the LDS Church, and they've expressed a pretty significant interest here. We knew that would be a big kind of touch point for the folks here in West Jordan. So we've kind of gone ahead and started discussions with them. This is going to be a little bit long, but I think it's really important. Hopefully you guys will agree. Why the PC? We wanted to make sure that was really clear. A lot of times, and it was asked earlier tonight, but I think Commissioner Green, you know, the planning commission or the planning community versus the PRUD. And I can get into that ad nauseum if you'd like. I have a very long explanation, but there are some pretty big highlights and important reasons why this makes sense here. The first of which is the existing future land use map just didn't work. It didn't allow for the creativity and the clustering and the open space and all the different things that we plan to do to integrate into this development. As well as there's some very financially beneficial elements to this, including significant infrastructure and construction dollars will be invested in the local economy. Roughly 11 acres of commercial land are being preserved on the corner of 7800 South and Mountain View corridor. This will provide acreage for future retail and entertainment, which will provide a long-term tax base for the economy. And so from a residential perspective, this plan is not the typical development. The attention to detail that the project team has had are what make this development unique. Since the design charrette in the fall of 2015, we've made it a point to engage invested stakeholders to understand what the community wants and needs. Amenities have been designed to maximize the unique site attributes. We have been able to master plan community to be shaped by the existing attributes of the land, the adjacency of uses and future uses, the city's ordinances and objectives, and ultimately the community. From the large amenitized open spaces to the alley-loaded product, this community will be more costly to build, but the sense of place will help support West Jordan's objectives. So finally, we've kind of walked through these already, so I'll just run through this slide. These are just some of the things that make this development unique and special, nothing that we haven't already discussed. And so finally, the next steps. Today we're seeking a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission for the Future Land Use Plan Amendment, PC Zone Application and Concept Development Plan. Next, obviously, would be the Planning Commission, the City Council for the same. And then before development would occur, we'd obviously have to come back for a preliminary development plan in front of you and the Planning Commission or the City Council as well. And so we're working on those applications as we speak. I think it's important for you guys to kind of understand we're moving. We want to move aggressively forward. It's been the delays that have kind of frustrated things, but we're ready to go. And we'd like to get your current feedback on the plan because to take that next step is a lot of detail, and we want to make sure we get this part of it right. Otherwise, we'll have to redo a lot of the next step. including lot sizes, fencing plans, lighting plans, irrigation plans. There's a lot of really fun little details that we'll be discussing next time we see you. And then finally, I just wanted to quickly thank staff. They've been patient and professional and helpful throughout the last year and a half. And we've had to work together, as you do, negotiate. We'll continue to work together to resolve issues as they arise. But we're pleased that they have kind of reviewed this and forwarded a positive recommendation onto the Planning Commission and City Council. And so with that, I will breathe again and turn the time over, I think, to staff to just kind of address or questions that you guys have, whatever you'd like to do.
Right, thank you very much. Let's have questions for the applicants. First, Commissioner Sikoski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I just want to say thank you for your interest in building in West Jordan. I really like when people come in with a really good plan, because that gives us really a lot to look at and shows that you're committed to this and that you have, what your intentions are.
Yeah.
I like the design. I like the walkability. I like that you've got amenities distributed through it. I like the buffer that this creates, kind of between Mountain View corridor with some higher density. I like the future commercial and the location of it. My major concern with this kind of zoning change, and we've been burned a couple times in the past historically in West Jordan, where we get this beautiful plan come in, and then down the line things aren't quite penciling, so the developer will come back to the city and ask to not have to do some of the things they promised us on the front end. So with that, my concern is, will the open space and amenities be fully completed within the phasing as it develops out?
Yes, without a doubt. We want those amenities for marketing purposes, and that really sells the community.
Right.
I mean, that's what sells Daybreak. You drive into the park and the lake and all of that stuff. So we will get into the phasing details later, and we've got a map that we can discuss with you right now. But that is critical to the success of our Brio project and a lot of others along the Wasatch Front. So, and I would love to give you more surety, and we can kind of write that into the development agreement, which is the next step, because that's important to us as well as you guys. So, totally understandable.
Absolutely, and I just I want to say too that we hear all the time that I see developers come in with this kind of, I'm trying to push density, and West Jordan is totally not, especially me, I'm not against density. But where there's density, there's got to be amenities. And so I commend you for putting so much thought into that. Density is great when there's a lot of amenities that go along.
Amenities, and I think architecture. You probably, architecture is really key. I mean, 40 units to the acre, if done right, it doesn't feel like 40 units to the acre, 8 units to the acre, 5 units to the acre, whatever the number is. Right. So we're committed to that.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you. Commissioner Green.
I'm going to tell you that in the year and a half that I've sat on the Planning Commission, this is the best PC design that I think has come before us. It's a lot better than a couple that we've seen recently that looked like we figured out how many houses we could put on a piece of land and cram them in there. So my question is, because I don't see it in my packet, city ordinance requires a phase plan. The time that this is going to take. From phase 1 to phase 12, how long is it going to take?
It's 856 units. We anticipate absorption rates of about 100 units per year. So we would anticipate 8.5 years. If the market slows or speeds up, we could be wrong. You know how that works. And so we plan to move just as quickly as the market's willing to bear these types. I think the product segmentation, though, and we're not here to cram density, but if you do it right, you can provide a lot of housing options to a lot of folks, and so it helps with the absorption rates. And so that's something that we're constantly aware of. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. My suggestion to you would be to put something like a phase plan together, just so that the city council has it so it meets ordinance. Because otherwise it doesn't meet the code.
I don't know how to exit out of this guy. Ray, but I think the very last slide of the presentation is the phasing plan as we kind of have it pegged right now. And it's a hidden slide, that's why I can't pull it up. So if you'll just exit out of the PowerPoint and just go to that very last slide, up one, up two, up one, 29. Yeah. So that is the phasing plan, Commissioner Green.
Yeah, there's no times on that, but, and the ordinance actually requires a phase plan by time.
Requires time, okay.
So you probably want to, even if it's fairly rough, phase 1, 2017, phase 12, 2020, 12 years from now, whatever. That's, you probably ought to have that to meet the requirements of the code.
Ray told me you'd ask for that, and so I dropped it. But we will.
You knew I'd ask for it.
We will definitely have that ready for you, or at least for the city council, and certainly in the preliminary development plan, which is the next step. So.
Thank you. And just to tie Commissioner Sikorsky and Commissioner Green's comments together, you might want to put some projected time frame on when the amenities will be phased in. In your presentation, you mentioned 7 to 10 years. Commissioner Green, you mentioned 8.5. But where along that line will the amenities be finished? So thank you. Commissioner Green, or Commissioner Quinney.
You'll get it.
I know
You'll get it eventually. It's all right. We have faith in you as our fearless
we
leader.
can move down one so that you don't
I think that would
get
be easier.
confused.
I just wanted to quickly say thank you. I appreciated that at the very beginning you had your slide, the things that you've heard, and then you addressed those through, and those are all things that I think in the 2 years that I've been on the commission that we've specifically hit other developers with, and so you've taken to heart the things that we've been concerned with and really addressed those. So thank you for your diligence in that.
Yeah, no, it's important. We want to get it right. This is too important to mess up.
Any other questions for the applicant? Commissioner Luthi.
I have one, and it might be jumping the gun.
Yeah.
In the report, I noticed that you had talked about the 2 different water pressure zones and how that would limit
Good question.
the construction.
Yeah.
At what phase do you have to build the water
question.
tank to be able to accomplish the next part?
If I have one huge major concern, it's that one. And so right now it cuts off at phase 3 and then follows this line right here. It's based on elevation. Sorry, my hand's shaking a little bit. But it's phases 1, 2, 3, and 4, and phases 12. Those are all able to be serviced by existing water infrastructure that's currently in place.
Okay.
Beyond that is it requires a new water tank that actually was part of an application you guys just recently saw with Oker West, with Homes. So our tank is actually anticipated to be built on their site. And I know they've got that kind of identified. There's some pretty big hurdles to that. We've got to get it funded, and those are issues that we've got to address here in the near future. But we've been talking to Dave Murphy, who has kind of said, hey, this is important to us. We've got to get this right. It's not just for you guys. It's for a lot of developments, and we're somewhat hamstrung until we can get that resolved. So we're actively working on it, and hopefully we can have a lot more clarity. Dave said he's kind of restricted until this gets to kind of preliminary development plan, and then he can say, hey, we've got units that are ready to be built on the ground, so we need to kind of move this up in terms of a priority. So I don't know if that answers your question, or Ray, if you want to clarify anything that I've missed.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Commissioner Sikorsky.
Thank you. Just to kind of piggyback on that. So phase 1, 2, and 3, it looks like there really isn't a whole ton of amenity involved with that.
Yeah.
The large amphitheater and the swimming pool and everything is in phase 4, correct?
That's correct.
So if the water tank stalls out, you would not complete phase 4.
Phase 4 is in.
It's within it?
Yes.
It's still allowed?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, for sure.
Okay.
So the way that we've kind of anticipated this right now is and maybe I'm opening up the hood too much. If I am, just tell me to shut up. This road's really expensive right here, and we won't be putting any homes there to kind of preserve that for the commercial opportunities that are going to be built. We'd love to come in and put those amenities, all of them in with probably within phase 1 and 2, but we can't because of the cost of that road. So we're going to come in here and we're going to put in a top lot that's located right there that will provide access to the phase 1 folks. And then by the time phases 2 and 3 are built, that's an expensive amenity, and you can spread those costs, the maintenance costs and otherwise, over all phases 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's kind of how we've thought through that. That's our anticipated plan there.
Oh, that's great, thank you.
Great, thank you. And again, I think that would be important to delineate
Include.
somewhere
Agreed.
in there
Totally agree.
for other people to look at. Great, thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you for your detailed, comprehensive presentation. Take a drink of water.
Sorry if it was boring. Yeah, you didn't hear that.
No, great.
Okay, all right,
Thank
thanks.
you. Something of this magnitude, we want all the information we can get, which brings us to the next phase of the meeting. City staff.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, I won't go into a lot of detail on this since we've kind of gone through it. But just so you know, this is a rezoning request and it's also a future land use map amendment. And what's presented to you now here on the board is just the concept plan that's required as part of that rezoning request. So just keep in mind, this is a concept plan that you will have another look at it when it comes into preliminary approvals as well as city council. And at that time, we'll be looking very closely at densities, amenities. But again, this is the concept plan just showing what general densities are. We like the look and layout of this, the feel of it. It's like as Commissioner Green has indicated, it's a good example of a planned community where you have uses and densities and different kinds of housings that are kind of interdispersed rather than just having a big cluster of multifamily and then a big cluster of single-family dwellings. So we like how it's been integrated in with this. We like how the open space threads through the project. Phase 11 will be, which as I mentioned I think it's anticipated for senior housing. So, we've got a church site that's on there. I know that was one of the concerns in another project. So we think that they've hit the mark on this, and our recommendation would be for approval of the land use map amendment and rezoning.
Great, thank you, Mr. Gardner. Questions for staff? Commissioner Green.
So my question is...
Camus. I was looking at the sign of Gardner. See, I know who you are too. It's only been, what, 10 years?
Randy, you're sitting in the wrong chair. Passing him up.
I think you're playing tricks on me. Everybody.
All the roads on the whatever side that is on the right side. So I guess that's the east side, isn't it? They're all being stubbed out to provide access for the other properties. Is that what we're doing there?
Yeah, I think up here on the map here, there's a stub here, there's one here, there's one here, there's one up here.
Does that cause us any concern with routing what appears to be just based on, because Rocky Mountain Power's got their right of way and everything? Is that gonna cause problems with this development to have the house routed through, or a lot of those cars from that neighborhood routed to 78th or 70th through here?
I don't see it. These are collector streets that run north and south. So they've got 70-foot wide right of way. So there's one here. There's one that'll come east to west as well. So it's just kind of a crisscross with the roundabout in the middle.
And if I could, let me show you real quick. There's the Somerset, what is that? Somerset, the Ivory development. This road will plug right into those stubs. And as long as we have a coordinated effort as far as crossing underneath the utility corridor, I mean that's the optimal situation. As indicated by the applicant, east-west connectivity is challenging, especially the further west you go. So the more permeable our road network, the easier it is to diffuse some of that traffic that we're going to see. I mean, this is a lot of acres, so we've got to have as many connections as possible, but do it in a smart way, and we feel that this achieves both.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for staff? Commissioner Luthi.
Does this whole community feed that Falcon Ridge Elementary?
If I remember correctly, I think you had some kind of analysis or talk to the school district.
So just for the record, since you probably didn't hear that, the applicant has spoken with the school district, and my recollection is that it does just beat Falcon Ridge. However, the school district is consistently and constantly readjusting boundaries based on this development. And so not only is the applicant, but we're in communication with the school district just so that they can try to keep ahead of the curve as best they can. You know, the state legislature has basically mandated that we can't restrict development based on the school capacity. That being said, it's smart and wise to be good partners with the school district, which we are, and we can certainly prepare a better, more concise response for the city council moving forward. Plus, I also emailed you a few minutes ago the process for these master plans. You probably haven't had a chance to take a look at that. The Planning Commission will see this again at the preliminary development stage, and so we can come prepared with a clean response at that time.
Great, thank you. Yes, the school district has to service students. They just don't say how. Is it going to be portables or pocket busing or dual sessions year round? Thank you. Any other questions for staff?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Thank you,
Commissioner Hatch.
Are there any other communities of this magnitude that are similar in the, I know you mentioned Brio, there's a developer who's developed in Brio down in St. George area. Is there anything up in this area of this magnitude that we can look at that's similar, that have been successful or done in general?
So you're looking at existing built?
Yes, that are of this magnitude.
I guess the closest one to this would be right across the street, the Highlands Master Plan. That's twice the size of this.
Okay.
And it's nearing completion. It has several multifamily development components that are yet to be built, but that's the closest that you can see.
And how many years has that been?
It's
Hmm?
2007?
Okay. So about the same time frame?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I guess a little bit older one, also built by Peterson Development along 78 further to the east is the Stone Creek development.
Okay.
So very similar.
Great. Final call for questions for staff. All right, we'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting. A reminder you'd have, if you could please state your name and your address for the public record. And a reminder that tonight we're basically focusing on matters of cartography. You know, we've got a future land use map amendment and a zoning map amendment. I should say that concurrent with a zoning map, a conceptual development plan is tagged on to that. They're approved concurrently. But as staff has said, we will see this again, and it will be agendized, and you'll be able to come and look at the preliminary and final renderings. So with that, we'll open the public comment section.
I just want to say I'm impressed with the amount of planning that's gone into this project. The concern I have is my name is Steve Cartwright, sorry, and I live on 6115 West, which is just across the street from the elementary school that's located on this map. And 70th South is not fully developed, and I'm concerned about the stress that's going to be put on that road due to the high volume of homes that are going to be placed there. And also, there's a lot of people that live right on 70th South where their house faces 70th South. There's a lot of younger families that have children that I'm just concerned that that's going to bring a high volume of traffic and also higher speeds of traffic, just because even though the speed limit is posted at 25, there's people that disregard the speed limit constantly on that road. And that's my major concern is that we're going to have a lot of stress put on that road.
Thank you very much. We'll make sure that gets addressed in this meeting and beyond. Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to comment on this? Great, seeing none, we'll close the public comment session. Commissioner Sikoski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would be interested in possibly suspending the rules for a moment and bringing the developer back up to address the question. The section on the north end of the property that abuts 7,000 south there, my question is, would the road be widened to match the width of the road more to the east?
I'd be amenable to that. Any discussion of that?
Maybe the city engineer can tell us.
And or why don't we have the applicant address that, because we want him to be able to address what was mentioned by Mr. Steve. I didn't catch your last name again, sir. Carmine? Thank you. With regard to traffic. Can concurrently address both items. Thank you.
So traffic impact studies will have to be done on the development. I don't know that I can directly say it's going to be approved. That's typical of development. I don't think that we would oppose that, and certainly a condition that we would consider as part of a larger development agreement. And there's a lot of things that have to yet be negotiated with regard to just a lot of items, that being one of them. So I think that we should probably just include that. That's a great point. Just include that in the development agreement. We can make sure we address that issue then. I don't know if there's specific engineering requirements with regard to us having to finish. Do you know?
As we conduct the traffic impact study, or the traffic engineer will be looking at that.
Yeah.
There is a concern on 70th South with the way we've got on the north side of 70th South. There are a lot of houses that front on that road, so we don't ever see that being a high-speed, high-volume road. It'll be, traffic calming measures will be taken to keep it calm. It is a collector road. There will be a significant amount of traffic. That's the way it is, unfortunately. But we'll be looking at methods and techniques to keep the traffic from, going too fast and to spread the volume out, on other roads as well.
One of the traffic calming features that we've tried to kind of aggressively push in most of our communities is just when you narrow those streets, there's just this automatic inclination for people to kind of slow down and be more cautious. And so I don't know if that's an element that we'd want to consider here, I guess. I think it's once you get to Falcon Ridge Elementary and along that frontage, the road is at its full width and capacity. So we'd probably just have to continue that width on across. So it would be a wide, empty street.
That's what we see. But again, as we do a traffic study, we look at volumes and we look at the number of cars that will be going on there. Then that's how we'll get a better chance to address that with specific measures.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. I know that these aren't necessarily the view of this, but being able to look forward and gauge kind of what you're saying and what the staff's saying kind of helps us come to a little better decision.
No, and I appreciate that. As you were talking, something else kind of popped into my mind. We'll start kind of from the south and work north. And so, as you look, that's phase 10. That could be 5, 8, 10 years out. It could be a little ways out there until we have to ultimately make that decision. And so, there's got to be emergency access. There's got to be all of that stuff that's got to be taken care of. But ultimately, it's going to be a little while.
Right. Well, and the other thing is that, other developers may be interested in the property to the east, and the road may go through at that point. So
true.
There's a lot that will play into that. But thank you very much.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. All right, well, let's bring it back to the Planning Commission for discussion. Commissioner Green.
Like I said, I think this is probably one of the better PC projects we've seen, at least in the last year and a half that I've been here. As I was doing the math here, we're talking upwards of 900 units. When you add the typical average house we're building here a city the size of Panguitch, at least, or something in that neighborhood. We're building a city in a city. I understand the concern about, 70th South it's a city street, it's not a UDOT street, right? Because that 70th curves off and then that's where it wanders around and becomes the state street and then down Redwood and however the state designates it. Yeah. I have to tell you, I think that I agree with you, that my biggest fear for this is that it is a very, as the developer mentioned, it's a very aggressive plan. And 12 phases over 10 years, 8 years, 10 years is an aggressive development. Now, we've seen it work with Peterson next door. We've seen it down the street with Daybreak. But I have to tell you, deep down, that's my concern. And my concern goes along with the water. Right now we can only see 4 phases going in, and if the water tank doesn't go in, we're dead in the water, and then we're stuck with 150 acres of PC zone land that we're stuck with some other way. So I guess one question for city staff is, this is one of those chicken and egg things, right? Is that we can't build the tank until we know that there's going to be homes, and we can't put the tank in. It's that vicious cycle, correct?
To a point. Moving to the next stage of review / approval, we'll know a lot more. And as indicated by the applicant, our public works, capital engineers, once we have a development plan in place that gives us specific units, they can take that information and put it on their list of their 5-6 year plan. And with the next review process, we have the ability to, in conjunction with the development plan, approve development agreements, or slap some conditions on there that phases 1 through 4 can proceed. If there's concern that phases 5 and north won't be able to be served, then we can address that in the development agreement. And that's one of the reasons why we require phasing plans, is to deal with public infrastructure needs. And so this is all good dialogue, because we can, the applicant's here, we're here, we can put that into text as we move forward, if the city council approves this land use map amendment and rezone. So again, I appreciate the dialogue, but I think as we move to the next step, we'll be able to have securities in place with the phasing plan, with the development agreement, and we should be able to come to some sort of contractual agreement between us and the developer.
Okay. So one other question while I'm sitting here is, since phase 1 through 4 are all on the 78 South, and most of the exits are to the 70th South, are all the roads going to be put in as part? At what point are the roads going to be put in for this to service the phases 1 through 4? And go on with the phase.
Yeah, there are additional connections. So there's the one through phase 4 that connects over to the Ivory development. There's also the potential to cut across and provide a secondary point of access a little further south. But as we again move to the next stage, the fire department's going to step up and require that secondary point of access. No more than 30 lots can be served on a single point of access. So that's something that we'll address with the phasing, which includes off-site improvements if needs be.
Commissioner Sikoski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just looking at it, I like the way that this is set up, because it preserves the commercial area in phase 2 there for future, which is really nice to have with a PC zone on the arterial roads.
And being abutting both 7800 South and Mountain View Corridor, it's a good fit for that. I like that it's a boulevard entrance that they're looking at there, because it continues to be a beautiful area. And I know that this is subject to change. However, if they follow the phasing plan that they have, it still allows for pre-water tank potential problems the largest amount of nice amenities to still go in, where the swimming pool would be there, where the amphitheater would be there, the largest open space. It still flows, and it works because 1, 2, and 3 are high focus on housing, but then right behind that they complete the majority of the high-end amenities before the rest of the phasing goes in, which would potentially draw the rest. So I know that we're not approving this per se today, but I like the way that it's been thought through. I like the way that they're thinking, and I like the permeability. There's a lot of future road routes. It's walkable. It's beautiful. So, and as far as your comment earlier, Commissioner Green, where you talked about the whole chunk being zoned as PC, I personally don't have a problem with that, because a PC zone is a perfect barrier between a high-speed roadway and the remainder. So as far as zoning all of it PC now, I don't have a problem with that, because that allows for a lot of flexibility. Let's say, the worst happens and we only get to phase 4 on this side. I still think that is a very attractive piece of property for future land use if it were to go through.
Well, and I concur. It looks like the open space is spread out in all phases, yet not so spread out that it's not a usable piece of open space like some plans that we've seen where it's just a little 4-foot wide swath of land.
17-foot dry strip, never mind.
Right. And, if you kick a soccer ball and it doesn't go exactly straight, it's out of the open space.
Yeah.
So I agree, if something does come up and you have to stop at phase 4, that's a great development there as it is. Thank you. Commissioner Green.
Well, and my point wasn't that I didn't like this whole thing as a PC. I do. It's a gamble that we take. We saw what happened with that last development that we did as a PC. What happens when the PC falls through, and then you're stuck with something zoned PC, and then you're trying to basically infill on a PC zone. And I think that it's one that, as we look in the long term, I think it's one that if for some reason it is a PC and something falls through, we just have to make sure that the city council and everybody's on board with what needs to be done to continue with the same look, style, feel, and not have some of the other issues that we've had in the past. So that was the only comment for that one, is that no, and in fact, just the way this is laid out, the nice thing is that as Commissioner Pack mentioned, there's open space in a lot of phases. And as things move from 78 south to 70 south, there's open space that's protected in each phase. So I think we're going to end up, unless there's just some massive problem, I think we're going to be able to maintain some open space. And I think the character of this property, if I'm not mistaken, because of the way the wash runs through here and some of the topography, I think we have to maintain some of that open space anyway. So I think that's going to help. I think we do have to figure out what the traffic is. I think the neighbors have a valid concern with the traffic. I think that as we work with the neighbors, I think that the difficulty is that we've got 200. Well, I mean, if you look at this, we've got 205 acres, plus you've got the whatever Jordan School District's got to the west or to the east of Falcon Ridge. They own a big piece of property there. It looks like it's big enough for a middle school or a high school. And then all the other infill that's going in there, there's a lot of houses that are gonna go in there, and so I understand the neighbors' concern with traffic, and we've gotta be sensitive to figure out how to fix 70th South so that when we get the residents in here and the other future infills in some of these other little pockets there, we've gotta figure that out. But I also like the fact that this has got a lot of senior housing on it. I think that's gonna help the community. Senior housing seems to have a little bit, even though it's multi-family, seems to have a little bit less impact on the typical what we see as multifamily housing, so I like that particular aspect of it. And in fact, I think that helps when we talk about number of units to alleviate some of the school district problems when you have 200, when you're talking about 20% of the project or so is senior family. They don't put much strain on the school, so I'm good with that one.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Sikorsky.
Thank you. Well, based on the findings set forth in the staff report and upon evidence and explanations received today, I move that the Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the City Council to amend the future land use map for 205.3 acres from community commercial parks and open lands, future park, high-density residential, medium-density residential, and low-density residential to a very high-density residential, medium-density residential, and community commercial designation on property generally located at 6150 West, 7800 South.
Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Sikorsky and a second by Commissioner Coney. Any discussion in the motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously 6-0.
I'll take the second one there too. Based on the findings set forth in the staff report and upon evidence and explanations received today, I move that the Planning Commission forward a positive recommendation to the City Council to rezone 205.3 acres of property generally located at 6150 West, 7800 South from an A20 agricultural zone to PC zone and approve the conceptual development plan as we have seen it and had it explained to us tonight.
Second. Again, a motion by Commissioner Sikorsky and a second by Commissioner Coney. Any discussion of that motion?
Yeah.
Please, Commissioner Green.
Would you be amenable to adding a condition to that specifically deals with the time and the phase plan and time has to be completed for City Council?
Yes, I would be amenable to adding that we need to have a phase timeline along with the design or the timeline of the open space and amenity finishes as we discussed in the meeting earlier.
Would you be amenable to that?
I would be agreeable to that.
Great. The friendly motion has been approved by Commissioner Sikorsky and seconded by Commissioner Coney. Any discussion, any further discussion to that motion as it has been amended? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously 6-0. Thank you for doing business in West Jordan. And do we have any updates from city staff members? Anything going on? Great. And then just a brief comment. Thank you again for your trust in allowing me to serve as chairman. I've been doing some brainstorming on things that we could do, especially owing to the fact that every year we're bringing on new people, and with experience comes experience. And certainly not that I know everything, but I thought that all of us could share on a bi-weekly basis when we meet something that we've learned, something that's come up. We've attended conferences, something from a legal background, something from a civil engineering background, to be able to share our experience with others. Doesn't need to be extremely lengthy. You don't need refreshments or handouts or anything. Although donuts are good. Julie makes good cookies, so maybe bring bring some cookies. But would you be amenable to doing that? On a
That'd be
regular
something
basis?
handled in the pre-meeting?
In the pre-meeting, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, and I'll take the point and have something prepared for next week that's short, so we can help each other and hopefully learn and grow and work in synergy for the betterment of the community with our various backgrounds and perspectives. Thank you. Commissioner Sikowski.
Thank you. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn, along with, again, a very warm welcome to our new commissioners and having Commissioner Green back. So.
Second.
Great. We stand adjourned until January 2017. Happy New Year.